What's up, fans of anime? Let's take a look at the new Rurouni Kenshin to see if it still holds up today. Now, while I haven't personally read the manga, I did watch the original 90s anime. For me, it is my favorite anime of all time.
And I've also watched the original anime, so let's get this review started. We're gonna start with the story. Now, you wanna give your point of view first from the person who loves this show.
The story of this anime, it's very dated. You can very much tell this is a very older style of story because a lot of things are way more simpler than they should be. Like, there isn't anything that's gonna throw you off, like a big twist, that kind of thing. It is very much a product of its time, which you can say is a bad thing because it becomes predictable in that regard. But to me, I guess it's just a personal bias at this point, but I kind of like that style of storytelling. It's just, I can just simply watch it and not have to think about what's actually happening or be in tune about if someone is going to do something terrible or betray someone or something like that. You can kind of tell what's going to happen, so then you just watch it and you just experience it.
Yeah, simplicity could be a great thing in animes. Like you said, this is an older anime, so it does have traditional anime
Tropes.
Yeah, I was gonna say tropes or, standard anime storytelling.
Yeah.
Which is not bad. However, compared to modern times, a lot of animes have come out at the time. And a lot of these stories nowadays have some kind of twist or turn or sad story. Not to say that this new Kenshin doesn't have any sad stories, but just to reiterate what you said, it is a little dated.
Yeah, and that's mainly because the style of story that people want, they kind of want it to be a little complicated in that regard.
And also, what's the word I'm looking for? Tragic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like very dramatic, like 0 to 100 kind of thing.
Yeah, but the story for Rurouni Kenshin is actually kind of tragic, but it kind of hints at it throughout the entirety of the story.
I think it's more of the past.
The past,
yeah.
yeah.
Kenshin's past, and everything that happens in the past is more tragic.
Yeah, which that would be a more interesting plot point than what you're actually watching. So maybe the viewer might be saying, all what's happening is not really interesting because what's interesting to them is what's shrouded in mystery, which is Kenshin's past.
Yeah, and for this season, Kenshin's past wasn't really talked about too much.
Yeah.
It was more about the present day, with him, with his days with Kaoru,
Yeah.
Yahiko, Sanosuke, Megumi.
Though you do get a small bit of his past, like
That's what I'm saying.
Just
You
like
get
a
a little
small
bit.
bit.
You get a little bit. You
Just
get
a little bit.
Yeah, you get bits. Now, Kenshin did have some good stories, some good arcs.
Yeah.
Like the Janae arc,
And then
Aoshi, Oniwaban.
Though I will say, I think after that particular story arc, the Oniwaban arc, it got kind of bland, very bland, really fast, like very fast.
It felt like it came with fillers with the Rajuta
Yeah, Raijuta and then the Western.
the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor.
The Yokohama international.
Yeah, which
doctor.
to his credit, I did initially like that particular arc just because it was
Something new.
Something new.
Yeah.
And it was like, I guess I just never seen foreigners in this style, in this era, basically. Watching a samurai anime, you would expect to just watch, katanas versus katana, but no, the villain showed up, appeared. I'm just thought, oh my god, that was cool. I wish the fight was longer. I got what I got, so I'll just take it.
Another arc we forgot to mention is the last arc, which is Saito. Wolves of Nibu.
Saito, yes.
That's probably the better arc. I would say that was actually a good ending to the show. I would say.
Yeah, you get through all those 10
and you get his
episodes
past back.
of BS
Yeah.
to get to that part.
Yeah, in his past, Kenshin's past comes to light, and yeah, it was an amazing fight between them two.
Yeah.
I think it was a longer fight compared to the original.
Yeah.
It lasted pretty much a whole episode, which was great. I will say though that Rurouni Kenshin does this one thing that a lot of other animes don't do, and that's bringing actual Japanese history into the anime.
Oh yeah.
When I was watching Rurouni Kenshin, even the old one, I did not know that these are actual Japanese historical figures,
Yeah.
or like actual events that happen. Like the Oniwaban is an actual group.
yeah.
What's Sanosuke's group?
Seki Hotai.
Seki Hotai. That's an
Yeah.
actual group and an actual event of the leader. What happened to the leader? His head was being
Yeah,
displayed.
he got decapitated.
That was
basically.
crazy.
Yeah, and obviously,
The Wolves of Mibu is actual.
Yes,
is a
yeah,
legit
obviously,
thing.
yeah. Saito is actually a character.
What's that? What's their group called?
Shinsengumi, yeah,
Shinsengumi is a
the
legit
secret
thing.
police, yeah.
It's all wrapped around this that era, which is kind of crazy.
Yes.
And I didn't know that prior to watching the old one. So we're all getting like a little Japanese history as we're watching this anime.
Now let's talk about the characters. So I love all of these characters, but again, I have seen the original, so I do know all of their names. I wouldn't be surprised if someone new watched this and they just couldn't remember anybody's name other than Kenshin's own name. So how did you feel about it?
You know, we both watched the original anime, so
Yes.
we kind of have
As like a
nostalgia feeling
Yeah,
for them.
So as a non-mega fan though, what do you think about them?
They're okay. I would say obviously the most character who got screen time is Kenshin and somewhat Kaoru. But I feel like the villains have more of a screen time than the actual main characters like Sanosuke and Yahiko. Even though they got their own little small arcs, I feel like the villains that was in the arcs or like supporting character that was in those arcs had more of a shine. Like Sanosuke's friend, I feel like I know more about him than Sanosuke because I know about more about him and the
Sekiho
Sekihotai group army. Even the villains I like. Janae's cool, Aoshi's cool.
Aoshi.
You know, Saito's a legend. But those little side characters like those minor arcs, like Rajuta.
I don't remember the young student's name anymore. Rajuta's student.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember him anymore.
The guy who moved away.
Yeah,
Yahiko's rival.
Yeah, Yahiko's rival. I don't forget his name.
The doctor from Yokohama, the blonde, the girl doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those characters. From what I understand, some of them aren't gonna show up again. So that's kind of a bummer. That's why some of these arcs feel like kind of filler-esque.
Yes.
Because they're probably not going to show up again, which is kind of disappointing. Now, what about you? The true Rurouni Kenshin stan.
So I can't talk about the characters without trying to make a comparison to the original. In this new one, if you haven't watched the original, Kaoru might seem like the standard like female character in an anime, which is like you probably think, oh, that's okay. But to me, I was quite disappointed in the new version of Kaoru. In the original, she was more spunky, independent, I guess. Like she showed off a lot of more prowess, even though in this new one, she does show off like her ability as like a swordswoman. But I feel like her attitude towards everything was a lot. It
was more feminine, I would say.
Yeah, it's more feminine in this newer version.
Not to be sexist.
Yeah.
But she was more of like a damsel in distress.
Yeah, and I that's the perfect way. She wasn't that much of a damsel in the original. Like the only reason why she was put in the situation is because she was literally put up against rivals of Kenshin, stronger opponents. So it was just like it made sense why she was the damsel in this case. In a lot of the newer cases, she was being put in that position by so much weaker people, and I was just so sad about that because I felt like that character was ruined.
It wasn't ruined. It was more like it didn't live up to the older version of Kaoru.
My image of Kaoru has now been destroyed basically. It's just like you were so strong, and now I just can't look at you and just think you're helpless now.
Yeah, because I think the old one, she was more tomboyish.
Yeah.
And this one, she's not a tomboyish.
Yeah.
So she was just a girl.
I guess something else that was missing was all the characters were a lot more serious than they normally would have been.
Partly due to because the anime itself is more serious. It's not just Kenshin as a character.
Yeah, but I do need to, say that because I felt like Kenshin being like super goofy is like part of his character for me at least. Like when things go down, he gets down, but when things aren't, then he's just, like a natural funny person.
Yeah, the only time I feel like in this new adaptation, I feel like the only time that the Kenshin that we see now reminded me of the old one was when he was fighting Saito. That last 3 episodes when he was fighting against the Shinsengumi and his past came back to life. That was actually maybe the second time I was watching this season that I felt like, oh, this is how Rurouni Kenshin is, because his eyes came back.
Yeah.
He actually had his Batosa eyes, and that's how I wanted to see it drawn. And the way he was acting, and then the way he snapped back to like his old goofy self again. I was like, that's the Kenshin that I know, and I wish I had more of that. It was disappointing that I had to watch 10 episodes to get to that from the middle to the end, just to get to that part.
Yeah, so you mentioned Kenshin's eyes, so immediately I just want to go straight into the animations, the visuals, that kind of thing. And this is somewhere where I'm split on. I really do like the visuals of this, like just like the moment to moment, the scene to scene. I like a lot of it, but there were some choices that I didn't really like. Whenever they showed the Batosai eyes, I thought that it should have looked a little bit more bleak. Like the coloring scheme should have been a lot more intense, I guess, because I never felt threatened by him, even though the voice actor did an amazing job with that. But I just, visually speaking, I wasn't intimidated by it. But when I really wanted to be intimidated by him,
I guess it's probably the studio that they chose. Now this is a great studio. I'm not bashing on the studio, but the color choices that they used was too bright. I feel like it was very vibrant. They're trying to match with modern time animes, like the bright ones, like My Hero, the Demon Slayers. Those are very vibrant and colorful, and this new Rurouni Kenshin tried to go for that, and I feel like they should have gone the opposite direction, which is the older rustic. Is that the right word?
Yeah, rustic. Yeah.
Like very Japanese traditional colors, which is not vibrant. It's like kind of faded a little bit, and the old adaptation of Rurouni Kenshin did that really well.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, that is kind of strange. Like they are living in, the Meiji period of Japan. So the fact that they have very bright, vibrant colors, I don't know why that never like hit me when I was watching the anime. Maybe just because I was just like, oh, cool. I guess I'm just so desensitized to the idea of this is like in that time period they would have less coloring in their clothing, but I guess I just kind of forgot about that.
To compare to some animes, they should have gone to like Samurai Champloo, those kind of colors, or Dorohedoro.
Dorohedoro?
No,
Dororo?
Dororo, yeah, like that.
Dororo, yes.
Kind of like that. Those kind of colors. Those are not vibrant. But as far as the animation is great when they fight. When they actually do fight, when Rurouni Kenshin does fight, those flashes of him attacking people is crazy. Even like certain people's moves, like Aoshi's what's his move called?
Kaiten Kimbu?
Yeah, Kaite Kimbu. And even when Kenshin was fighting Janae, that was a good
the Shina we
cinematic battle. The part where he put his sword behind his back. So yeah, all the battles are great. Next, we move on to pacing. Now, pacing, this anime, it goes back to the story category where we were talking about how these little other small arcs, I feel like they kind of take away from the main storyline. Midway point after the main Oniwaban arc, Aoshi,
after episode 12,
they start to go into different little small arcs, which is like Yahiko's friend, the little girl, Sonosuke's friend, his army friend, and then Raijuta arc, and is there another one?
The doctor, the
doctor,
arc,
and the doctor. Those 4 arcs, and they all had 2 episodes each.
Well,
I think one of them had 3.
Raijuta's arc.
Yeah.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, and I feel like that kind of took away from the actual pacing of the show. As old fans, of course, we're used to it. We want to see more of these arcs that hasn't been adapted. Yeah. So like all these arcs that I said, I think 2 of them wasn't adapted.
Yeah, but even as like an old fan, like while I am familiar with that, even while I was watching it, I was getting very bored and tired of it.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, do you really need to fully drag out this fight? You don't really need to do that. We already know what's going to like go down, but why do you keep stretching this out? That was like the big problem that I had with it.
Yeah, it could be also be the placement of the arcs. I think if they would have done this before, like maybe Aoshi's arc or after Janae's arc or before Janae's arc, it would have made the pacing a little bit better. But it's because Kenshin fought these strong villains already, like Janae and Aoshi. Yeah. And then when he fights these other guys, it's like, who cares?
It reached the peak already.
Yeah, like who cares about these other guys? Like you said, it was just drawn out for a little too long. Up until the last arc, which is Shinsengumi arc. That's when it got good again.
Yeah, Saiso comes back, the anime is great again.
Yeah.
But you still have like again those 9 to 10 episodes, but after 12, where the anime is just kind of, you probably will get bored watching this if you're not interested in this part of the
as
story.
A casual, if you're a new casual person who's watching Kenshin, you're probably gonna get bored right there. You might drop it. But obviously, since we're both older fans of the show, we stuck through it just because we want to know more of the story. I'm assuming. So
to wrap up what we just talked about, I personally think this is a decent anime. The story isn't gonna blow you away, but it's got that old school 90s feel where it feels kind of nostalgic if you have that level of nostalgia, but obviously if you don't have that level of nostalgia, this might be kind of basic, kind of run down. The characters, I think, is the best part about this entire anime. Yes, they do fall into tropes here and there, but I never personally felt annoyed listening to any of these characters. The animation is also one of the cleanest ones that you can watch out there. It doesn't have that much fighting in it, but the parts where it does have fighting, that's like top tier right there. And then the pacing, the first half of the anime was great. The latter half is where things just start to take a nosedive. But if you can make it through that and get to the very last couple of episodes, then the anime ramps up once again and sets up a really nice cliffhanger into a sequel.
Alright, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and do our usual tier list. We have Rurouni Kenshin right here. In my personal opinion, with everything that we said, was a tough one.
Yeah. What do you think about this? I'm
now, if you're
biased.
a casual new fan of the series, I'm gonna put it at C.
Yeah.
You might like it.
Yeah, I would say that as well.
If you're like an OG fan or like a diehard fan, it's either gonna be great or worth a watch. I would say worth a watch if you're an OG fan, only because there's a sequel coming out, and that's the only reason why. If the sequel was not coming out, then I would put it way down here.
I would say worth a watch.
I would say you might like it.
Yeah.
That's where I would put it.
Yeah, I would put it between a B or a C. I would only say worth a watch only because it's one of the older animes that's just, this was something that people used to talk about way back in the day, and if anything else, just to watch it, just to see what the hype was about from those particular animes. But yeah. I would say C would be like the actual place I would put it. You might like it. If you don't like it within the first 4-ish episodes, you're probably not gonna like it at all.
Yeah, the reason why I don't want to put it at a B, because if I was to recommend it to a person who has never watched Rurouni Kenshin, I would probably recommend this new one to them. you would probably recommend what, the old one, right? If you had to pick one.
I would actually recommend the newer one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's a lot more quicker paced.
And it's probably more
visually
relevant.
Visually it's more appealing.
Because it follows
as well.
the manga.
Yeah, it's visually more appealing as well. Some people don't like watching dated anything at all. So the fact that the animations are updated now, the story is more concise. I would recommend this if they wanted to watch it. But if someone went up and asked me and said, "Hey, what's a good anime to watch?" I wouldn't tell them this as like the first choice.
One thing that we failed to mention was that it is true to the manga.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
it is a one.
That's
for
a
one for
big
the
thing. That's why a lot of OG fans want this anime to continue, and I want it to continue too, because the next season coming out, and that's probably my favorite arc, which is a Shishio arc.
Yes, that is the arc.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for that.
That is what you watch Rurouni Kenshin for, I would say.
And also, a lot of fans, a lot of older fans, they're waiting for the Inishi arc, the brother.
Yes.
I'm waiting for that one too, because I don't know. I don't read the manga, so I don't know what happens. Technically happens.
That is the arc that was animated back in the past,
but not true.
But not true. It wasn't
true to
great.
the story. Yeah.
So people want a better
true
version
adaptation.
of that. Yes.
And that's what we're waiting for. And yeah, there you have it. It's a decent anime compared to the modern standards. You might like it if you watch it. If you're recommended to watch it, maybe check out like a few episodes.
Yeah,
just to give it a little taste.
If you can get up to the Jine arc, if you don't like that arc in particular, I would suggest just to stop watching.
That's probably like 6 episodes in.
That's 6 episodes in, yes. That is like the pinnacle of Rurouni Kenshin, I would say.
And there you have it. That's our review and our tier list for Rurouni Kenshin 2023. Let us know what y'all think. If y'all don't agree with this, I know there's the fan base is split down down the line. Some people hate it, some people like it. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and stay tuned for upcoming reviews and quizzes of animes. Until next time, thank y'all for watching.